Warning: the following podcast show that you're about to listen to will include explicit language and content in which you, the members of the audience, may find offensive. Audience discretion is advised.
Welcome to another episode of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience.
Yeah, boy.
Where anything and everything is a subject matter on the show, and no subject matter is ever taboo.
Damn, that's what's up with you.
And now, your host with the most, Mr. Kim Hoang. Bro, am I getting paid for this?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How the heck are you? This is your boy, Kim Hoang, the Asian Sensation, and we're here once again making another great episode of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, coming to you live in an undisclosed location, but in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. And ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be working very quickly today. We don't have a lot of time because, this man that I'm about to interview is somebody who is very popular. And if you get him on your podcast, for all you podcasters, you have been blessed by the hands of God. That's all I have to say. Ladies and gentlemen, this man really doesn't need any introduction. But for those that may not know, he's a martial artist, being a 10th degree black belt in Kempo karate. He was one of the actors of the very famous, iconic movie, The Karate Kid, back in 1984, starring Ralph Macchio and Pat Morita. And, part one, that's right. For those that, didn't know. And he has a book that just dropped on Amazon Prime. He is the author of a book called Minecraft, The Educational Singularity. We're glad to have him. Mr. Darryl Vidal is in the building. Sir, thank you so much for being a guest on our podcast.
Oh, thanks for having me. Kim, the Asian Sensation, I take it. That was good.
Yeah, yes, sir. More or less. Yeah. I'm just hoping that the food company that actually had the Asian Sensation doesn't hear that. But then again, I hear that company kind of tanked out a long time ago.
That's okay.
Yeah. Well, first off, I mean, how are you doing? We are in December, so happy holidays.
Yeah. Thank you. Happy holidays to you. I'm doing really well. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'll just say it real quick that when you put that notice out on social media, I just felt like I had to take the opportunity. And especially, it doesn't happen very often when we get to have someone of your position, someone that has done a lot of great things as yourself, being in a great movie as the Karate Kid. So, wow, I kind of feel like this is like my own personal Michael Jordan that I'm interviewing.
Well, it's funny because, for some like yourself, who've been a fan since the beginning.
Yes, sir.
They have the whole, the Michael Jordan moment, like you said, but there's a lot of people out there who have no idea. So it's like, it's still pretty much a nobody to most people around the world, unless they're martial arts fans or Karate Kid fans, or even, Cobra Kai fans start to, know about who I am. But I appreciate the attention.
Yes, sir. Real quick, and it's a huge favor. Is there any way possible that you can give a shout out to two of my martial arts instructors, Grandmaster Amos Johnson and Grandmaster Mike Warren of Washington, D.C.?
All right. Grandmaster Amos Johnson, and who's the other one? Grandmaster
Mike Warren.
Mike Warren. Guys, keep passing on the good news and doing the great work of the martial arts grandmasters, and hope you have a good holiday season coming up.
Nice. Well, let's jump right into it because I do want to respect your time. You actually grew up over in the West Coast, over in California.
Yeah, born and raised in San Diego.
Okay.
My dad came over as a Navy person from the Philippines.
Okay.
Moved to family here. I have two older brothers. So I was the first one of our family born here in the United States. I pretty much spent all my life here in Southern California. Never lived anywhere else.
Like growing up back in the day, like were you like more like an athletic person, a shy person, like a musical person or a theater person? What were you like?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm pretty athletic, but we're small people, so it wasn't like I was gonna to get into the NFL or the NBA or anything like that. And so a lot of us small people find our way to success in martial arts, wrestling, some of those
Right.
individual type sports where you have weight classes or stuff like that.
Right. Right.
You know how it is.
Yeah. What struck like what actually now I guess growing up and the obvious choice, you grew up a martial artist, but like what really struck you first about like the interest of studying the martial arts? Was it like a TV show or a movie, or you just happen to see it walking by? What struck
Well,
your
in that time, the late '70s, kung fu movies, were really what caught my eye or my attention.
Yes, sir.
And I have two older brothers, so we would sit and watch the weekly release of Raymond Chow movies or Golden Harvest movies or the Shaw
Right.
Brothers and Five Fingers of Death and Shaolin Master. And then
Right.
obviously when Bruce Lee and Enter the Dragon came out, that was it. I was going to be the next Bruce Lee. I didn't know how, but I was going to be. And so my brother started taking some karate, and when you're the older brother taking karate, you always use it on your little brothers.
Yeah,
Kind
yeah.
of learned by osmosis, but he would teach us what he was learning, and we all took pretty well to it, and I could see that I was pretty athletic for a small person, and so I immediately sought out a way to train. So after we moved to Chino, which is a small town here in Southern Cal,
Hmm.
we connected with my instructor who taught through the Chino Parks and Rec, and he's still my instructor. He's my grandmaster, and I've been with him this whole time, and he's given me every one of my ranks all the way from first to the 10th. And
Wow.
yeah, and it's a good story because a lot of people don't get to 10th, from the same person, and
Correct. Yeah.
they'll go and
Yeah.
study with others in order to get ranked. But it's a great thing, and I kind of follow in his footsteps by being a instructor through the Parks and Rec department. So I've been teaching here in Murrieta for 35 years as
Okay.
in the Parks and Rec,
Yes, sir.
and we love offering a reasonable cost way to train and try to get all the family members to train together. So that's kind of how we do it here.
What was your training like, back in the days, like, like going through the ranks? Because everybody's training is a little bit different. The era of, back then in the 70s and 80s are a little bit more different than the training that it is today.
Yeah.
So what was your how was your training like, coming up in the ranks?
I would classify it as old school. We would train but since it was a Parks and Rec, it was like a shared community space. It wasn't like a dedicated dojo.
Mm-hmm.
So we never had all the bags or the makiwaras or all the swords or anything on the wall. We would come there, and then during our time there, we would train old school. Stances, drills, sparring, all the normal stuff that you would see. We never did any of the you know games that you see some of the kids do today. Bouncing rubber balls off each other or hitting each other with noodles or anything like that. So it was
Right.
pretty much traditional, kempo training. So yeah,
Was it like Chinese Kempo or Japanese Kempo?
it's classified as Chinese kempo,
Okay.
but I think it would more correctly to call it Hawaiian kempo because
Hawaii.
yeah,
Okay.
because Amparado and Matosi and I don't even know who's really back there, but a lot of them came through Hawaii,
Okay. Yep.
and then came to California, and that's where my instructor and his instructor came up through the ranks, partially from the Parker system, but also partially from others, and so that's why Chinese Kempo is kind of a little bit of a mix of different Kempos.
Gotcha. I understand from looking from your website that you actually have a stick fighting club.
Absolutely. As a Filipino person, I always felt that I had to learn Filipino stick fighting Arnis, Kali, Eskrima.
Right.
So I did over all through the years. I always sought out different people who I could learn and train with, but I never trained with one person, one system, and ranked through it. I worked with as many people as I could find and kind of gathered up all the different exercises and drills and methods from different styles. And then when I felt like I wanted to teach, a system, I kind of just conglomerated it all and developed a curriculum that I could teach, based on what I know. And it's, 30, 40 years in the making. So it's not like I just made up a bunch of stuff. It's definitely stuff that is pretty well ingrained in a lot of different systems.
Yes,
but
sir.
when I developed the curriculum and started teaching it, I just call it the Murrieta Stick Fighting Club. That way I don't
Right.
step on anybody's toes,
Right. Right. And
And
that's
yeah,
no,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead. No,
So it's a complete system. I've been teaching it here in Murrieta for like 15 years now. So I've got a couple of students who've come all the way up into guru rank,
Mhm.
and yeah, a lot of fun. Definitely.
And is that program still active today?
Yes. Yeah. If you
Oh,
go to our recreation website, you'll see my karate classes there, and then you'll see Murrieta Stick Fighting Club there too.
nice. Nice. I guess we're going to go into the stuff that, a lot of people know. The Karate Kid movie,
Yeah.
1984, like I said before, a big iconic film of its generation. That was like the film that Pat Morita got nominated for Best
That's right.
Actor.
That's right.
You happen to be a part of that process, and that was great to see that. But how did that happen? Did you had to go to like an audition, or were you sought out? I mean, how did that happen?
Well, it's a true Hollywood story, because I told you that I was coming up through the ranks in karate.
Yes, sir.
I would, like I said, I knew I was good at both the kata and the sparring, because
Mhm.
as I started coming up into the blue, green, brown belt ranks, I would definitely had my share of wins, both areas. Some of the other students I trained with, we really got into the sparring and trying to dominate the division by using our best tricks and techniques that we could use.
Yes, sir.
And then in the kata competition, even though our system of kempo doesn't really have jumping, spinning, flying kicks,
Mhm.
but being in open tournaments, you see especially the taekwondo people and the hapkido people doing some of these. I start to incorporate those moves into my own kata.
Mm.
And my thought at the time was, well, I don't really know how to break into Hollywood. I had no ideas. My parents weren't the type that would, go and get an agent, take me to Hollywood. So
Right.
I figured just by competing as much as possible in Southern California, LA, Orange County area, I might get discovered. And guess what? I was at a tournament in LA. I was competing. I did that kata with all the jump spins, and then I was getting ready to spar in the fighting division. And this guy comes up to me and says, "How'd you like to be in a movie?"
Oh,
So,
wow.
it was literally like that. And
Nice.
then John Alvinson, who was the director of Rocky, came up. So that was Randy. He was the assistant director who came up to me first, but then he introduced me to John there at the tournament. They were scouting,
Right.
and they said, "Here, call this number next week and show up." And I was it. There was no audition or anything. They said, come to and we start. Next thing I know, I'm at a sound studio, and uh, uh, was it Paramount or Columbia? It was there in Burbank,
Columbia.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm with all these actors who I'd never known. I didn't know who these guys are, but they
Right.
ended up being the Cobra Kai guys, and then that's the rest of it is just movie history. We trained for 6 weeks together so that they can learn, uh, you know, uh, Cobra Kai karate, and
Right.
Pat and Ralph work together separately so they could learn Miyagi-Do. And
Right.
So that's how it happened.
Now, Pat Johnson was the stunt coordinator for the film, right? If I remember correctly, he was like a Tong Sudo guy that trained along with Chuck Norris. He trained with him.
That's right. Ninth degree black belt under Chuck Norris, Tong Sudo, but also world renowned martial artist already at the time. In fact, he's in Enter the Dragon. He's one of the bad guys.
That's right.
Who accosts Roper in the golf, in the golf course.
The golf scene, yeah, that's right.
I always do his line. I used to tease him with it. It's the dough, Roper, or we got to break something.
Break something, yeah. Yeah, that's wow.
Yeah, he was a great guy.
Nice. What, now, did he actually give you carte blanche when it came to doing the fight scenes for the All Valley, or was there some kind of structure that he wanted you and the rest of the guys to follow?
He gave me the structure, but once we started doing stuff and he saw my ability, because when you're coming up through the ranks, stunt fighting, movie style fighting is something that you do all the time. All my friends,
right.
So I was very ready to choreograph my scenes. When we got together, he would say, "Okay, we want this, we want that," but he pretty much I wouldn't say carte blanche, but I said, "What about this? What about that? I'll do this, and you do that." They went along with that, and so pretty much I kind of did a lot of my stuff and then the stuff I did with Billy. All the little vignettes you see, I pretty much said, "Hey, let's do this. Let's see how it goes." And so we kind of covered all those bases, nice. It was a lot of fun. In fact, the fight that Johnny and I do at the semifinals where I lose pathetically, I pretty much put that whole fight together with him. And the funny thing about it is the way we choreographed it is he gets a point, then I get a point, then he gets a point, then he gets a point and wins. But at some point after we filmed it, my point got cut out, left on the editing room floor. Oh. So when I watched it, I go, "What happened?"
I swear, this is the God's honest truth. I was watching the Karate Kid Part 1 because I have that on my iTunes. I was watching it yesterday on my Apple TV at home, and just because I knew this was going to happen, and to build myself up with the confidence and the good energy, I actually went to your scene where your character fought Johnny Lawrence.
Right.
And I'm just I keep on looking at that, and I kept on saying to myself, you know what? He should have won, because that spinning hook kick, flawless. That tornado kick, okay, that was pretty cool. I was hoping that one of them would have landed, and I was just like, how did this happen? No, it's not fair.
Not only that, I fell down really good too. And the last, I do the jump spin kick, and he hits me in the face, and I hit the ground.
No.
But you see the little inconsistency there, because they actually cut that part, and when I do the jump back spin and he kicks me in the face, I fall to the ground. But on the next cut, I'm holding my stomach, and he says, "Are you okay at all?" I'm okay.
Right.
But that was from a body shot, so there's a little bit of a nobody notices it though. But
right. No, because they're so concentrated on everything else that they don't see the small nitpicky things, I think.
Right.
Yeah. I'll have to say, before we get into it, the Karate Kid, definitely inspired me to become a martial artist, but more so when I saw every fight scene that you did in the scene of the All Valley tournament, I was thinking, oh my gosh, if that's what martial arts is like, maybe I should do it. And I was just really inspired, especially with the fight scene again with you versus Johnny Lawrence. So, I would just want to personally thank you for just being, an inspiration, to me, that it's kind of it's kind of a message, the saying.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I have to tell you that I'm always blown away by the people that I talk to and interview with, and
Yes, sir.
when they say things like that the Karate Kid inspired them to take martial arts. I mean, I know it had a huge impact on a lot of people, and then it's happened so many times where people say that my scenes were the ones that kind of brought people into the interest into to practicing, and it's such an honor, and I'm humbled, and I really appreciate the recognition, and glad I could be part of everybody's journey into the martial arts.
Yes, sir. I think honestly, I think that scene in itself stole the show. Honestly, because I think that when it came to like real authentic martial arts and the way that it was like the techniques that were thrown and so forth, I said to myself, wow, I can tell that this is a person of experience and they know what they're doing. And if that's the standard, I need to chase that standard.
I appreciate that. But
Yes,
the funny thing is it's a little overdone, obviously, right? So those flashy kicks,
right.
I would probably never do. I mean, I have to say that a couple of them I had done in a tournament, in a competition, like the spin kick that when I hit the big dude.
Right.
But the drop down or the jumping thing, the tornado kicks, I was mostly like hit him back knuckle groin shot, hit him something that he's not going to see.
Yes. Yes. Wow. Well, now let's go ahead and go right into the present. You are a book author and you have wrote many books, most recently, that just dropped, I think on the 10th, as we're recording right now, it's the 13th, but on the 10th, I believe, your new book, Minecraft, The Educational Singularity, has debuted. It's actually out right now on Amazon Prime, for whether if anybody wants to buy it on a hard copy or, digital, both are available. Number one, in general, what inspired you to become a book author and writing books? And what inspired you to write this particular book, Minecraft, The Educational Singularity?
Okay. Well, I appreciate you talking about this with me because it's kind of, an offshoot from what brought me here. But so in my career, because I still work as a regular guy, my career is with education technology. I do technology programs for schools.
Yes, sir.
And so I, everything from strategic planning to project management, implementation, all the technical stuff.
Right.
And so in doing that, I do a lot of writing. I write reports, I write assessments, I write, RFPs, all these type of things. And, I'm a strong writer. And as far back as 30 years ago, I started doing different writing, and I wrote my first novel, which is called Net Dude. It's way long, not a very. It was self-published, but I knew that I liked to write. Following those, as I started to really build out my career, I started to write these books about education technology. How to plan, how to manage,
Right.
different ways, how to create a strategic plan. And those books are out there. They're on Amazon, but they're not going to sell thousands and thousands. It's really for school districts to help understand. So with the advent of AI, I wanted to stay in the forefront. So I try to immerse myself in what its capabilities are. And once I started that, it was like, there's a movie here, with movies like The Hunger Games and Ready Player One, and all these dystopian type things. My thought was, and it goes all the way back to Terminator, with Skynet and the singularity, which is when computers become self-aware. I was always fascinated with that concept, and so I came up with this concept of a robotics team, an esports team, who is very dominant in the realm, and then these two giant companies, right, which we see today. One is the gaming giant called Minecraft, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously the world that world is called the MCU, and then this other educational giant called Edunex, which basically everybody in the world is using now because it has all the curriculum in it. It has language translation capabilities,
Right.
and it's using AI to customize learning, adaptive learning for everybody. So these two giant software companies kind of take over the world in a good way, right? They're helping education and they're fostering this competitive thing. But then,
Right.
the one big company takes over, buys the other, and then they start to wonder if there's some sort of underlying motive, which of course there is,
Right.
and that's kind of the basis of the book. And once I started writing it, it just kind of took off in my mind, and it just became a fantastic adventure for this group of kids, and that's how it came about.
Oh, nice. How long did it take for you to actually, go from like creating it from page one to the final page? Was it like a long, lengthy time of process, like, like a
Probably
week,
about a year.
a year?
Yeah, because since I've written so many other books, I already knew how to structure it,
Right.
and write it. But the more difficult part was getting it published, because my ed tech publishing company doesn't do fiction, so I was kind of starting from scratch again. I didn't have any contacts, so shopping around, look for agents or publishers, and that took me at least as long as it did to write it. Yeah, so then maybe we're now at a year and a half or so, and then the whole editing process, which was super valuable to really coming out with a good final product, took another 6 months or so just to read it again, revise it again, fix these parts, align this thing, add some of this, do this. So once we got through that process, my publisher, who's called Phoenix Morai, he really helped package it, and here it is. It's actually, it's in print. It's available electronically, and super excited to talk to your audience, and maybe get some of them to buy it and read it.
If somebody actually looked at this book and they were unsure and you looked at them, what would you say to them in terms of like, like how would you sell them to and convince them to say, hey, you should really give this book an opportunity. You should give this book a chance because this could probably be a book that might blow your mind and you might have fun reading it.
Well, I mean, that's what I would say, but I would, capture them with, it's today's technology. It's not dystopian future, it's near future. So this is something that could happen next year, where it's kind of like an Olympics of esports, mixed with, you have these giant companies like Microsoft and, Amazon, and you always wonder, what's the underlying motive for some of these,
Right.
and so I think it's a common theme, or a theme that people can relate to, and then, like I said, movies like Ready Player One, and it can capture the thought process of a lot of people who are, we all live in this realm, then, right? Game within gaming and education, it kind of encompasses everybody.
Yes, sir.
So that's why I think there's a wide opportunity for audience.
Did you ever think, like at this moment in time right now, being an accomplished martial artist of your rank and your position right now, being a movie actor of one of the once again, and I say it like a broken record, but it cannot be further from the truth. Being an actor in one of the most iconic movies in motion picture history, and being a book author, just releasing Minecraft, the educational singularity right now. Did you ever think in your wildest dreams that you would be, the storybook success as you are right now?
You've certainly built it up, but no, I never would thought that. And and part of the reason is if you remember back when the first Karate Kid first came out, it was kind of a blockbuster. It made a big splash, and then it kind of faded out. And then every year they would play it, and then as the other ones came out, they started playing them. So it was a phenomenon, but it was really like it is today, where there's all this stuff. It was just like once a year or so that you would watch a Karate Kid marathon, and I always thought, it's funny how this movie, is still popular.
Right.
And then in 20 years later, in the 20-year anniversary, is when they came out with a new director's cut, and then Will Smith came out with his version, and started to bring it back, and so it wasn't that I kind of went off and just lived my own life. So I didn't feel like a celebrity or a big accomplished martial artist. I was just teaching my classes and living my life. And then once the 30-year anniversary came around, then a lot more buzz started to happen. 30-year anniversary, and I would end up going to these reunions or sometimes an autograph show, and it's like,
right.
People really like this stuff. But it took 30 years to get to where it seemed like it was kind of a big deal. I have a funny story. Is a lot of my karate students didn't even know I was in the Karate Kid.
No kidding.
Because I never talk about it.
Right.
It wouldn't be until it comes on TV that says, "Hey, I saw you on TV."
Wow.
So when Cobra Kai came, it started to cause people to go back and watch Karate Kid 1, and it just kind of caused a whole resurgence about the whole thing.
When you go to like all these events and you meet these fans, or you meet fans randomly outside of these events and so forth, and they talk about to you about the Karate Kid, and how much of an awesome impact it made, or they just how they would compliment you, what's the thought that comes into your mind when you hear such such words?
Well, it's like I told you earlier, I'm honored and humbled, because I still can't believe it. People like you just did, that inspired you to. I'm so happy that I could have that kind of impact,
right,
on people, and it wasn't an intentional thing. I wanted to be in a movie. I got in a movie, and then for like I said, for 20, 30 years, it kind of just faded off, and now here we are again, and I'm able to take some of that fame, if you will, and leverage it to do some of the other things that I like to do in my life, like write this book. So
yes,
it has taken me places. I'm always blown away by it, and appreciate to have fans like you who would be willing to help me market my book based on the fact that I was in a movie 4 years ago.
No, for sure, absolutely. I always feel like anybody that is an artist of any creative medium, if they have something, I think us as podcasters have responsibility to talk about it and endorse it, because I think that's the only way that people get the message, and they may be interested in what you have to offer in the world. So from my standpoint, it's my honor to help endorse and to get the word out and about your new book. I mean, I felt like it's my responsibility to help you out in this manner.
Well, and so the give and take, obviously, I like I did. I put the word out on Facebook and said, "Hey, all you podcasters out there," and I got a lot of hits. And you're one of them. And I think you must have been a friend on Facebook for a while, because it didn't seem like. Well, I mean, I put the word out and you immediately picked up on it. So, so we've been out there in the same realm for however long. And so,
yes, sir.
Yeah, I really appreciated that.
So I guess the final question is, what is next for Darryl Vidal? Like, what is it? What does he want to do from this point? Does he still want to write books? Does he still want to be an actor in movies? Does he still want to pass on the knowledge of the martial arts? Where does he go from here?
That's a great question. And on the one hand, teaching martial arts, my wife and I both teach. She teaches dance, I teach karate, and we're just
yes,
yeah, we both do that through the Parks and Rec. So she teaches her dance classes, I teach my karate classes. We've both been teaching here in Marietta for 35 years. And I don't see that ending anytime soon. Unfortunately, I'm getting older,
right,
looking toward retirement. And so that's one thing I'm trying to figure out is, I can retire from my regular job, but when am I going to retire from karate? I love it. I teach it, I
right.
touch so many people and have these students, so trying to figure all that out. And then with this book, which I think could become a blockbuster. It could turn into a movie if I can find a scriptwriter who could, help me get it in front of the right people. There's at least a sequel and maybe two other plot lines that could come right out of where this book ends. So I would love to continue, the Minecraft series with, some more storylines.
Have you ever thought about like writing your own book, like, kind of like a book about your memoirs, life in the martial arts, life, in the Karate Kid movie, something of that type of nature?
Of course. Not only have I thought about it, but I've been encouraged to do it by, family members, people like yourself who have said that they would be interested to read about it. My thing has always been, I don't want to write about myself. It's so self-indulgent and, brag about this and that. But
Right.
I've been very strongly encouraged, especially with, trying to do this and other things that may happen in the next, few months, that I need to have that. So I have been working on it. I have a title. It's called The Crane and the Grandmaster.
Ooh.
So I started just going back, and it's a memoir, so all the way back to my early days, talking about how I got into martial arts, but also other things in my life that people don't even know about. For instance, you mentioned it early on. You talked about music,
Hmm.
and even though I'm not like a gifted musician, my brothers are.
Right.
But I've always been around it, and so in my high school, college days, I actually played in a band.
Oh, wow.
We actually got kind of a recording contract. We thought we were going to hit it big. Didn't happen.
Right.
But still to this day, I play guitar and ukulele and a little bit of bass. And then both my sons are amazing musicians.
Oh,
So
nice.
so yeah, I knew it would be in the blood, once I started having kids and stuff. And so, my son, guitar player, drummer, produces, he writes his own music.
Right.
My other son is a very accomplished classical pianist. So
Oh,
I'm always
nice.
around. I love music, both traditional, classic, rock and roll, and all those things. So yeah, I'm a kind of a many faceted person, and that's why I'm enjoying putting this book together, because I like to fish, I like to play golf, I like to snowboard. So there's so many other parts of my life that I get to talk about in this, if and when it gets finished.
Nice.
Yeah.
So to kind of end this out, like, to all your fans and to all, the martial artists out there, that, are inspired by, your hard work ethic and what you have done, for the art and the creative art. What would you say to them? Like, if you had to say anything at all?
Wow, big question, but I do have a saying, a quote that I use in terms of teaching martial arts, and that is, by demanding excellence, we help others achieve excellence.
Right.
Uh, and that's all about upholding the standard of your martial art. Whatever your training system is you can't compromise it, because once you start compromising it, the next levels that come after you, you know, they're not going to be as excellent. So we have to uphold that, but at the same time, we have to be sensitive to people's challenges. Individual challenges. Not everybody's athletic. People have health challenges. People have disabilities, but we want to encourage them to train. So
Right.
you have to bring that all together,
Right.
and offer something to everybody. So I really try to do that in my own teaching. Is bring people aboard, help them learn, teach them the way that we did, and hopefully encourage them to change their to improve their way of life. I always talk about, and I know you as a martial artist know this, is it's not just studying; it's a way of life, and
Yes, sir.
it impacts everything you do. And if you start as a younger person, you learn the discipline. What I found is, the junior kids that have grown up with me, it takes 7 to 8 years, 10 years to get a black belt. So, I'm seeing kids that start at 7, then they're going to be in their 20s. I have students that are, all grown up in their 30s. They become very disciplined people. They do well. They become great family people. They're very, thoughtful and engaging. And, so martial arts training, and it could be anything, right? It could be tennis or any sport, but once you've learned the discipline to seek success in anything, it will help you in your life. It'll become your lifestyle.
As I just got like a little text from my friend online, Julia, that goes by the name of Shablon, coming all the way from Rio de Janeiro. She typed,
Oh, wow.
Kim, please make sure that Mr. Vidal gives a shout out to my mom, because she grew up in the 1980s era and she loved the Karate Kid so much. Can we make this happen? Well, Shablon, you know what? He's here right now. So yes, he can say hello.
Shablon, what is your mother's name?
She didn't really say a name. She just said, please just say Shablon's mom.
Okay, Shablon's mom. I just appreciate your fandom. Hopefully, you're having a great holiday season down in the Rio
de Janeiro.
Yeah,
Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
I will come there one day and visit, and yeah, I'm sure it's a beautiful place, and hopefully, you're having a great holiday season.
Well, Mr. Vidal, we don't want to take any more of your time, because I know that you probably have like a time crunch, and we want to respect that. We want to say thank you so much for stopping in and blessing us with your time, and to chat with us and so forth. To
Absolutely.
me, like, the inner kid is jumping out of my body right now. The 7-year-old kid is jumping out right now, and he's probably causing a ruckus. And right now the 47-year-old adult is trying to tell him, just calm down. It's okay.
Well, Kim, I appreciate that. And I want you to know that whenever I do a podcast like this, meet somebody like you, I consider you a friend now. So you can always think of me as a friend of yours. And I want to, just if I can plug all my little social media.
Please. Yes, please. By all means. The floor is yours.
Absolutely. So I love to interact with fans. I would love to be on other people's podcasts, and I appreciate you giving me a platform to speak to your audience.
Yes, sir.
On Facebook, I can be reached at Vidal Kempo. And again, I interact with fans all the time. I love to talk to them and answer questions. On Instagram, I have a silly handle called Rockbreaker Boy.
Yep.
But if you just type in my name, it'll come up. And again, I interact with fans all the time. I have a merch site. I have a link tree that's in all my bios. So go to my link tree. You'll see my merchandise site where you can get logo shirts and bags that have my karate logo, Vidal Kempo Karate. Also have, for instance, like I have the patch, the Locust Valley patch. If you want to order one of those, I have those available. I'm just started carrying autograph pictures. So if you go on my merch site, I have several, photographs that I can autograph and send. We're still a couple weeks from the holidays, so if you want to buy something, and I can ship it, turn it around, and ship it back to you real quick. I can customize autographs for anybody. And then with the books, I'm going to have the hardbound books available, autographed for $50, and I'll write anything you want on it and get it shipped out to you as quickly as I can get them. So
I'm going to save my money for that because originally I wanted to buy the book, but because you said autographed, I'm going to save up so I can actually invest, not spend, invest in the better deal.
Thanks.
Yes, sir. So Mr. Vidal, thank you so much for your time, sir. We definitely do appreciate it, guys. What we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is that we are going to take a break. When we come back, I will do, closing segments and so forth. So hang tight, guys, and we will be back in a few. In life, we all want to have great health and excellent physical fitness. However, it's never given, only earned. That said, if you want to go to a gym that will help you to get there, then look no further than Kicked Up Fitness at National Business Parkway in Annapolis Junction, Maryland. Their mission at Kicked Up is to provide the ultimate functioning training facility that focuses solely on your success, with a diverse team that's highly qualified and dedicated to taking your fitness goals to the next level. Kicked Up also offers a variety of group classes and personal training programs that provide something for everyone, regardless of your fitness level. They believe in working hard, achieving results, all while having fun. So come visit their facility in person, which is located at 114 National Business Parkway, Suite 100 in Annapolis Junction, Maryland, 20701. Now, if you see my friend Sean Queen, who's the owner of Kicked Up, tell him that Benny Chow of Miscalculated sent you, and he'll hook you up with a complimentary 7-day pass just to try it out. Need more info? Give him a call. 410-888-9066. Email them at kufitnessnbp@gmail.com or visit them at their website at www.kufitnessnbp.com. Kicked Up Fitness. Never given, only earned.
And now, back to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience with your host, Kim Hoang.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. And wow, that was a great moment and that was a great interview. I've said it many times before and I'll probably say it again. And I don't know if it's unprofessional me of saying it. Never in a million years would I have ever thought that I would, in my podcasting career, let alone my own podcast, have a moment where I had interviewed a person like Mr. Darryl Vidal, who is, a martial artist, an accomplished movie actor in one of the most biggest movies of our generation in The Karate Kid, and now book author. And the fact that, he took time out of his schedule and was just so gracious and just so giving of his time, I cannot thank him enough. So I know I probably am saying this, all over again like a broken record, but it bears repeating that, with this episode, I am very grateful, and I'm going to take, this opportunity going forward, to just do big things with this podcast and really make this podcast a very, very good podcast for everyone to enjoy, And I just hope that you guys, the audience, enjoyed this episode and really got something out of it, as much as I did. And, Mr. Vidal is, all I have to say is he's a great guy, great gentleman. If he ever wants to come back, I will give him an open invitation to come back anytime. So I hope that he hears that. To Darryl Vidal, Mr. Vidal, thank you so much, sir. We really appreciate you. God bless you. Much love and respect to you. So that's it, guys. I mean, this is going to be like a short episode. I mean, there really wasn't going to be too much into it because I really wanted to kind of get to the, to the heart of the matter. I know that he had some, other, commitments that he needed to get to, and I wanted to, I wanted to respect his time. So that's where it's all about. So let's just go ahead and hit the closing notes, guys. You can find us on Facebook. Just go to the search box, go under the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, and you can find us there. That'll be amazing. We are on social media. We do have social media pages out there. So if you want to find us on the social media, you can find us on Instagram and on Twitter, now known as X, where our call name or you can find us under a tag name at TKHPC Experience, all in one word, lowercase letters. You follow us, we will follow you back. That's how it works. We are on a lot of podcasting platforms. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We are on Amazon Music, YouTube Music, and on Audible, powered by Amazon. And the cool thing about Audible is that not only is it a great platform to access all of the podcasts out there in the world, but you can access all of the audiobooks. And if you go right now to audible.com, you can get yourself a free 1-week trial membership. And you can try it out for free. If you don't like it, there's no financial cost. You just cancel it and it's cool. If you like it and you want to become a member, stick with it. And you will be charged $15 a month for the membership. It's that simple. Do us a favor. If you're on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts, please give us a great review. On Spotify, give us a 5-star ranking. On Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star ranking and a good, solid, positive written review. Because the more times that you do that for each of those podcasting platforms, then our podcast will go over to the front of the line and it will get a lot of attention and buzz. And then somebody could be like, oh, wow, the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. That was the podcast that George was talking about. And he said I should like it and subscribe to it. Yes, like it, subscribe to it. Matter of fact, subscribe to it on all of the podcasting platforms. And tell your friends, you know what I mean? Tell your friends either by word of mouth, by like in person, telling your friends, family members, coworkers, or stuff like that. Or you can go ahead and share this podcast on all of your social media platform pages that you are members of. Again, we have now Facebook, Twitter, now known as X. We have the Instagram. People do Snapchat. People do TikTok. Let people know about this. Spread the word, because sharing is caring, and it's a brand awareness that you're doing. You're making people aware of this brand. We really appreciate that. Also, last but not least, if you want to be a special guest, if you want to be a special guest host, if you have any constructive criticism, or if you have a question for us on our Q&A form, which I usually do on a solo episode, not like a episode where I interview people, but if I do a solo episode and I do question and answers, you can actually email me and send me a question about, something that you would like to ask on the Q&A. Just email me, guys, the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience at gmail.com. Whatever the subject is, put it in the subject box. Then in the body, just go ahead and write down your email and then send it to me. I will get it. I will make sure that I will respond back within 24 hours, no more than 48, because I do like to read the emails. I do like correspondence and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So that's all that I got, guys. I really appreciate the fact that you guys stuck out, for this one. You stuck around and you heard through the grapevine that this was going to happen. And I took advantage, and it was great, and it was wonderful. Again, the 7-year-old child is coming out of my body for this. He was definitely having a good time and nerding out in the biggest way. But I try to, really keep my poker face in tune. You know what I mean? So I hope that I did all right. Guys, it is a blessing, as always, to be here with you and to create great content with you guys. And like I've always said, if you want me to keep doing this, I will keep doing it, because I do it for you guys. And as long as you guys want it, I will still provide it. You know what I mean? And please be safe out there, guys. Please be safe out there. It doesn't do us any good if you put yourself in danger and you end up doing something very terrible to yourself that kind of lands you inside of a pine box and get buried 6 feet under, because we don't want that to happen to you. We want you to live your life. We want you to love life. We want you to appreciate life, because you deserve it. And anybody else that tells you otherwise, that you don't deserve it, you can tell them, go to the other corner, because I don't need your negative energy. I want to stay with the positive energy. I know that I'm all worth it. I know that I'm worth every bit of it. You know what I mean? Because I will just say this. I, for one, personally, have always been told, you can't. And I always tell people that I can. And I think for today, this has been the classic case of that. I can do it. I will do it. It will get done. And guess what? I did it. And it's amazing. And, if I can do it, you can too. You know what I mean? So that's all I got, guys. Thank you so much for your love and support. I really appreciate it. This episode will serve as, my Christmas gift to you guys, because we're in the month of December. It is the holiday season. And, I just want to tell everybody out there that I love you guys, and I wish you nothing but the best. Happy holidays to everybody out there, to you and yours. And may it be cheery. May it be beautiful. May it be happy and filled with a lot of happiness. And yeah, that's all I have to say. So for the one time, coming at you live from an undisclosed location in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, this is your boy, Kim Hoang, the Asian sensation, saying thank you very much. I appreciate it. Arigato. And we will do it again, guys. We will, because this is a podcast, and that I always say that is by the people and for the people. You know what I mean? So be good, be well, be safe. We're going to do it again, and y'all take care. All right? I'm out of here, guys. Peace.